Welcome to Cook Academy's Fluffy Breakfast Pancakes. Now my mum says that I'm sweet enough, so I usually cook savoury, but these are my absolute favourite. Okay, so first up we want to mix all of our dry ingredients in a bowl. So that includes 100 grams of self-raising flour, 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of baking powder. And you want to give that a quick mix before you add any of the wet stuff. Next up, you want to put all the wet into one bowl. So all that includes is 1 egg, crack that egg into there, and 100 mils of milk, and then a teaspoon of olive oil. There we go. And then we also want to give that a little whisk up as well, preferably not spilling the milk and the olive oil and the egg everywhere. And then we're gonna pop those two together. Now once they're together, you want to whisk this with a fork, so beat that quite nicely. And the reason we're doing that with a fork is just to make sure there's absolutely no lumps and it's a nice smooth batter, which makes for a smoother and fluffier pancake. Any other fun pancake stuff we can talk about? So the consistency of your batter should be just like that, just falling off the fork like that, not too thick and not too runny. Just while that's settling, we're going to put a knob of butter on the pan. Now this pan should be on a medium heat, and we don't want it too hot and we don't want it too cold, otherwise our pancakes will turn out a bit wrong. So if your pan's too hot, it'll burn on the bottom and it won't cook all the way through. And if it's too cold, then it'll cook all the way through, go dry, but it won't actually be that nice kind of golden brown on the outside. And the way to test this is just by doing one sacrificial pancake. So I'm just going to get a slightly smaller spoon than I usually would use, get the batter and pop that on there and just see how that pancake turns out. So if the consistency of that pancake is good and I'm happy with it, then I'll just use all my batter. Okay, so the way to know when your pancake is ready to be flipped is when these bubbles start forming on the top. So I'm just going to give it a flip and see how this one has turned out. Remember, this first one's all about just testing the heat of the pan. So that actually might be slightly too hot, that pan. So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit and then I'm going to start using more and more of my batter. So I'm just going to have a look at the bottom of this and see how that's looking. So that is actually looking like quite a good heat for my pancake there. So that's my sacrificial one. So with this sacrificial pancake, you can give it to the dog, eat it yourself, or you can just throw it away. Okay, so now that I'm happy with the heat in my pan and my batter, I'm going to get my slightly bigger spoon and then I'm going to make bigger pancakes. Okay, so that's about right for the amount. There we go, and just pop that, try and make that into a circle there. And we're just going to follow the exact same process for that as we did the last one. Wait for the bubbles to come up, flip, cook for a similar time on the other side, and we should be golden. Oh, she's looking pretty. How's my mustache looking, everyone? This is looking like a fluffy boy. Okay, now after a minute or two, what you'll see are these holes starting to form on top of your pancakes. So once you see those bubbles, you want to just flip that as delicately as you can. Maybe a bit more delicately than that. And then cook that for a similar time on the other side, and you should have a perfect pancake. Okay, so that's been cooking for a similar amount of time on that side, so I'm just going to flip it just to make sure it's cooked. There it is, golden brown texture like sun. Can we keep that in? Now I'm just going to plate that up, and if your pan is big enough, like my one, you can do multiple at a time. So I'm just going to do that, which is always a bit scary. Go, there's one. Okay, so when the bubbles start forming on top of these pancakes, just the exact same as last time, give them a flip. Okay, so when your last pancake is done, you just want to plate that up and add anything you like for the toppings. So we're just going to put some icing sugar on it to make it nice and sweet. And that is Cook Academy's Fluffy Pancakes.